Every deck is made for standing on, but there's only one that's always had a way of standing out. So if you're looking to bring more style, comfort, and creativity to your life outdoors, call on the brand that's known for making the most in outdoor living. From decking, railing, and lighting to furniture, fencing, and framing, at Trex, we're engineering what's next in outdoor living. To learn more about all of the outdoor solutions Trex has to offer, call 1-800-289-TREX or visit Trex.com. That's TREX.com.
Getting you up and going on a Tuesday. Glad you're with us. Golic and Wingo, ESPN Radio, ESPN News, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Mike Golic Jr., Trey Wingo here with you. Guys, welcome back. How was your weekend bender at Notre Dame?
It was a good time. Notre Dame Day this past weekend. And Mike
What is Notre Dame Day?
Notre Dame Day is essentially a 29-hour telethon to remind you to give your hard-earned money back to Notre Dame to help build awesome stuff like the new stadium edition.
Because I feel like every day on this show is Notre Dame.
Well,
so that's why I'm trying to figure out
what the
difference is.
We're not raising money every day like we did out there.
We're raising money for ourselves every day here.
Mike and I got to do some studio work for a couple hours there, and then I got to pick a sandwich that will be on a menu out at a restaurant at Notre Dame.
I got to pick a sandwich.
Some of the students made a sandwich we did it Iron Chef way, where it was secret ingredients that they had to make a sandwich in 2 minutes. And Mike and I did curling.
Well, hey, welcome to the club. Welcome to the curling club. I beat you to it. Did that at the Super Bowl.
You did. You and Larry Fitzgerald.
Elfitz.
There you go. It's a ball. I mean, it is so much fun to do. Yeah. And obviously it's so in the news with the men winning the gold medal at the Winter Olympics, but it was a ball to do. I was nervous because you said it's kind of hard to do. Yeah. We didn't find it that hard. We did sweep the one time where we got winded.
That was my point. Yeah, it is a workout. It is a workout.
Yeah. The sweeping will get you, but once you get past the initial part of it, it's one of those sports where the barrier to entry is not much. Like, you can go out there and turn this into a beer. Like, it's a great winter beer league sport.
Yes, it is.
Because it's not very difficult to get through. But once you've gotten through that barrier, all of the nuance and the touch and creating the spin, those are all the difficulties of this. But you can go out there and curl we did.
Oh, it was a lot of fun.
I heard you say it, and I wanted to make sure I get your reaction to it, because when you're sweeping, I mean, that is a workout. Well, it will take the wind out of you.
When you said it was hard, I wasn't sure which part you said was hard.
Well,
because
all of it was hard for me because I'm not an athlete.
The actually pushing of the stone.
There we go.
We did like one practice of that, and we actually did that pretty well.
Yeah, the stone glides a lot easier than you think.
That is just all touch, because I had an open, open target, and went right past it because I had and Mike swept too hard, and it was really Mike's fault more than mine.
Swept too hard.
You did. I was
such
saying
a minimal part of that.
Saying,
when you
stop.
When you launch that,
I did launch it rather hard.
Cannon fire.
We played two sophomores at Notre Dame, two young ladies who were part of the
team
curling club they have there, and they beat us.
Yeah, no, Alice and Marissa gave us curling buckets.
Yeah, they did. But it was a ball. We had a great time, and I was at my former D-line coach's funeral. Dale Hopp on Friday coached our D-line in Philadelphia, 88 years old. That was, a great memory for him, and seeing some of my former teammates, Andy Harmon, Clyde Simmons. Dan Hampton was there from the 85 Bears. William Frizzell, one of my teammates as well, and seeing some of the coaches. And just, again, we talk about it here on the show, when we talk about coaches, Trey, the coaching tree that you talk about here with the coaches and what Chuck Amato was there, former coach from North Carolina State, but just going through the tree of how all the coaches know one another. It's unbelievable.
How interconnected everybody is.
It is amazing the connections with coaches and following through, not years, but decades of how they all follow one another and kind of meet up along the way.
Yeah, and it's, obviously it was a shame that you were there for the funeral, but one of the things that's always great about that is you get to see people that you probably wouldn't have seen otherwise.
You do, and again, 88 years old, Dale had a heck of a life, no doubt about it, so it was great to relive that. Had some great videos, but then just to catch up with everybody, and then to realize again, the coaching tree it is a large, large tree.
Well, we're glad you're back, glad you're both back, glad you got the curling, glad you saw some friends, and more importantly, glad you got a sandwich named after you.
There you go.
Okay, so that's the show. Here we go. Let's start.
It's time for Off the Top.
Whether you like it or not, it's just beginning.
With Golic and Wingo.
Off the Top is brought to you by Samsung. It's a great time to let go with the Samsung Spring for Something New event. Upgrade and save on the latest Samsung appliances. Shop now at your local retailers or Samsung.com. And speaking of letting go, Rockets certainly did that. It was a 1-point game at the half, and then they played the third quarter, outscoring the Timberwolves, the Rockets did 50-20 in the 119-100 win to go up 3-1 in their first round. Yea, verily, the Rockets doing something that only one other team had ever done. That was playoff history.
Yeah, that was the 1962 Lakers that scored 51 points in the fourth quarter of their game. I don't even know what to say about this. You look at this game, the Rockets were missing shots left and right early on in this. Harden started out 0 for 7 in this game. They are clanking three-pointers left and right, and it was only a one-point game. 50-49, the Rockets were up at halftime, and then that third quarter happened, 50-20. They outscored them. They're hitting everything, and that's what you do. You're shooting threes, you're volume shooting, right? You're just throwing them up there. They ended up with 432 three-point attempts last night, or 53. Or whatever.
It felt like that way for Minnesota.
They ended up with 43. They ended up 16 of 43 last night. They averaged like 42 a game, but they were missing early, and then James Harden out of his mind in that third quarter.
Well, and that's the difference, right, is the volume, because both teams percentage-wise, I think the Rockets were 37% and the Timberwolves were 36% from beyond the arc. So efficiency-wise, you weren't much different, but Houston sticks with their plan.
Houston made 16 of them, Minnesota made 8. So there's a difference. 8 times 3 is how much?
24.
Don't worry about it. Anyway.
24.
So the point being is you stick with that plan and you very clearly see this is the world we live in. Like, I hear Charles and Shaq on the TNT halftime show all the time lamenting especially the bigs that refuse to go down there and post up. Karl Anthony Towns had one of his better games of the series, especially in that first half, was going down on the block, was taking advantage of mismatches, and it all got completely erased by guys that were much more proficient from beyond the arc.
Well, look, this is what we've heard from all the big guys, that they have to do this. Look at what Anthony Davis has done. He's developed a step-back three, okay? One of the reasons he's had a monster series. You have to be able to hit that range. You have to be able to do that, even if you're a big man in this day and age. That's how much the NBA has changed, and quite frankly, it's all because of the success that the Golden State Warriors have had over the last few years.
Off the top.
Staying in the NBA, Donovan Mitchell scoring 33 points in the Jazz's 113-96 win over the Thunder, as they go up 3-1 in that first round series.
Here's the amazing thing to me. Well, Donovan Mitchell has been incredible. He has actually outscored LeBron in the fourth quarter of both their individual series. Mitchell scores 36 points. LeBron has scored 35 points. But here's the amazing thing to me is when you think Oklahoma City, even though obviously Paul George has been played well there, Carmelo Anthony has the reduced role there, but still the big three we saw in game one scored 80 points. Then they've lost the next 3. In the fourth quarter of games 2, 3, and 4 in this series, Donovan Mitchell has outscored Russell Westbrook 32-5 in the fourth quarter. In fact, Russell Westbrook has only taken 5 shots in the fourth quarter. This is the most attacking guy there is in the league. This is a guy that just wants to rip your head off and be so aggressive and attack. He's taken just 5 shots in the fourth quarter in those 3 games and scored just 5 points. Mitchell just so outplaying him in the fourth.
And I think he went 2 straight games without taking a shot in the fourth quarter in this series.
What's a shot?
Let alone many shots, which necessitate the use of a shot rack.
I was about to say, I think when you take a shot, you've had too many shots to begin with.
Come on, that's we know what that's from. Gun rack.
There you go.
Look at you. I'm proud of you guys. We didn't have to get too obvious with that one.
There you go.
So when you get down to that point where Russ is that sort of neutered with his game, we see why last night 4 fouls as early as he picked them up takes you out of that attack mode. You can't be the guy that's max effort all the time when you're worried about picking up those last couple of fouls. And between Ricky Rubio's triple-double getting in his head and then the fouls last night, we've seen a guy that's just been off his game at a time where they can't afford it.
So you can give it a little bit to the fouls last night, but we're talking the numbers I gave you were a 3-game sample, not last night.
You're celebrating the entire selection.
There you go. 4 fouls in the first half. I get it. You have to be a little more careful. So there's a reasoning a little more for last night. But boy, Mitchell on the other hand, how about this Utah team? What if they never got rid of Gordon Hayward?
Yeah.
What if he was still on the team?
Look, they're impressive. I mean, I don't think anybody was expecting this much from Donovan Mitchell in his rookie year, but the things he's been doing has been amazing. And we'll get into the bitterness a little bit between Ricky Rubio and Russell Westbrook a little bit later, because after Game 4, somebody's tune changed a little bit after what he said he was going to do before Game 4. Very interesting. We'll get to that a little bit later. And the clock is running, and now I'm going to make sure we hit the timer before we move on to the next subject. There it is.
Off the top.
We continue. And so do the Caps. Alex Ovechkin's 2 goals helped the Caps to a series-clinching 6-3 win over the Blue Jackets. Washington now gets to face Sidney Crosby and the Pens in the second round, and the Pens are 9-1 all-time in best-of-7 series against the Caps.
Yeah, and when Ovechkin and Sid the Kid play against one. Can we still call him Sid the Kid at 30 years old?
Sure, why not?
Why not, huh?
Dude, as old as we are, they're all kids.
Yeah, it's really gone one way there. But the Caps did rally down 2-0 in this series to come back and win it. But Ovechkin, the only positive he has against the Penguins is he's outscored Sidney Crosby 40-30 in their head-to-head meetings since both entered the NHL back in 2005. However, everything else has been one-sided. The Penguins have beaten Penguins and Capitals in playoffs with Crosby and Ovechkin. This will be the fourth time the Penguins won, 2 of them in 7, 1 of them in 6. We'll see what happens here. In fact, every time the Penguins won a Stanley Cup, even before these two guys, they have eliminated the Capitals along the way. So let's see if the Capitals can. We've been waiting for them to try and get over this hump.
Yeah, the good luck Chuck of modern NHL hockey. But this is a big step for them coming back as much as they did at a time where we had waffled on the Caps year meme for the entirety of this series now. But for at least another round, their fans can breathe a sigh of relief before DC Sports eventually crush their souls like always.
Well, I mean, there are certain things you expect in life, and that is one of them. Outside of the Washington Redskins, everyone in D.C. tends to have their souls crushed by their sports team. But more importantly, it gives us a chance to say the most important thing.
As they say in hockey, let's do that hockey.
And they continue to do
and
that.
There you go. They get to continue doing the hockey.
Washington Capitals. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, the Yankees' big bats had breakouts Monday night in the Bronx. Giancarlo Stanton, Didi Gregorius, Tyler Austin, and Miguel Andujar all homered in the Yankees' 14-1 win over the Twins.
How about Andujar? It made him the only player in Yankees history to collect extra base hits in 7 consecutive games before turning 24 years old. That's pretty impressive. You know what else is amazing to me?
Tell me.
Is the youth and the money they're not spending.
Yep.
The Yankees, I think, are 7th this year.
Seventh in payroll.
7th in
Those
payroll
scrappy
this year.
little Yankees.
So you got Tyler Austin, who's hitting $296, making $558,000. You got Andujar, who's hitting $316, making $539,000. You have Judge, who has 6 home runs, making $544,000. Gregorius, now he's making $5 million, but in today's standards, that's nothing. It's Stanton, the one who's making obviously a lot of money. You said it before the show, Trey, and you're right. It's akin to that team. It's like the Rams having a really good team, and a lot of the reason why you can spend money is because you're not paying your quarterback.
Russell Wilson with the Seahawks, same thing.
Right.
Yeah, Stanton's picking up the tab for dinner.
Yes,
I think that's safe to say in the Yankees locker room at this point.
Yo, platinum sombrero guy, pick up the stakes. Let's go.
For him, though, 4 for 4 last night in a home run. It's amazing how little that'll probably get talked about now, which is good for him. He's not become the story of this anymore, which is probably going to be healthy for his psyche here as he starts to ramp back up. We knew that wasn't going to last all season. We knew that wasn't going to be the story with him. This guy is going to continue to figure it out. Now 5 home runs on the year. We know a lot of that was front-loaded. So this Yankees lineup, we talk about the boom or bust with the Houston Rockets. We know that's what exists with this Yankee batting order as well.
As for Andujar, again, 7 consecutive games with extra base hits. Only the third Yankee to do it before turning 24. The other 2, you may know their names.
Yeah.
Mickey Mantle and Joe DiMaggio.
It's a pretty good list to be on.
If Yankee greatness is you, Mickey Mantle, and Joe DiMaggio, you're doing pretty good.
Things are going okay.
Also, by the way, 21-year-old Gleyber Torres, the 5th best prospect in Major League Baseball, according to Keith Law, got his first Major League hit, a line drive single up the middle in the 8th inning.
Off the top.
And we finish up off the top with 3 Game 5s on the schedule tonight in the NBA playoffs. Warriors and 76ers are each 1 win away from moving on, while the Bucks and Celtics are tied at 2 apiece.
That Bucks, I mean, some of these got pretty darn interesting. Bucks and Celtics going to 2 games apiece and what's happening now. But the Celtics have won 9 straight Game 5s at home when a best of series has been tied 2-2. You know, Jaylen Brown has scored 30 points twice in this series. The youth on this team, and again, I keep saying where they're going, where the 76ers are going. 76ers are going. Ben Simmons needs, a few points,
11 assists and 7 rebounds.
If they get a win tonight to average a triple-double, first time since, a guy named Magic Johnson. So pretty nice company there. And the 76ers, what they've done because this has been a close series through 3 quarters. Then they have actually just absolutely destroyed Miami in the 4th quarter. They've been finishing really strong.
And it's been one of the chippier series we've seen, which is saying a lot because this playoffs in general has had a lot of bad blood to it. For the 76ers, as important as Ben Simmons is, and as impressive that stat line has been, this looks like a different team the minute Joel Embiid stepped on the court. And his offensive game has 22 points, I think, in his first game back. This will be his first home game in the playoffs in a 76ers uniform. But just his defensive presence has changed so much for this team. There's a confidence and a swagger to this group that now Joel Embiid has come out and said, forget the long horizon, forget the bright future. We're here now.
And as far as the Spurs and the Warriors, did I really see after the Spurs got that win, people actually tweeting, the Golden State, they don't have Steph Curry. Well, I mean, are you serious?
For this series,
no.
Come on. It has nothing to do with
please,
this series.
Let's stop with that.
The bigger issue is what it means going forward in the West with what we're seeing out of Houston. By the way, that is off the top. And this, I agree with you, Junior. This might be the best first round of the NBA playoffs we've seen in a long time. Let me just think about last year. 12-0 for the Golden State Warriors to get to the finals, 12-1 for the Cavs to get there. That is not going to be the case in any way, shape, or form for either one of these teams or whomever ends up in the NBA Finals because of the depth and the way these first-round series are being played. But the Rockets' 50-point third quarter is what everybody's talking about, and that's brought to you by Lowe's. Pros in the know. Start with Lowe's. Go to lowesforpros.com for details.
You do that well.
Thank you very much. It sounds like it's just something that someone says in Baltimore. I mean, that's basically the way that rolls right off the tongue. Obviously, a big part of that was James Harden. Here was James Harden after the win on TNT.
We hit the switch that we've been trying to hit, from the beginning of the playoffs, on both ends of the floor. It's pretty scary what we're capable of when defensively we're locked in like that, and offensively we got it rolling. So, great quarter for us to give us the lead, and now we go back to the crib and try to finish it off.
Great quarter, as in one that's only happened one other time in the history of the NBA playoffs. That might be understating it a little bit just to call it a great quarter. But here's the bigger question as we're looking at this now. Obviously, Steph Curry, we still don't know for sure whether or not he's going to play in the second round of the playoffs, assuming they get by the Spurs, and we think they will. Do we feel a little more confident now about the Rockets maybe being the team coming out of the West with what they've been able to do and what the Warriors have sort of not been able to do?
Well, I think as long as Steph is back, I'm still favoring Steph. If Steph doesn't come back until that series, I'm still favoring Golden State. Okay. I just am, because they can score a lot of points as well. Now, Houston's defense has improved, but have they improved enough to stop, Golden State? They've had some pretty good matchups through the season, but I still give the edge. I don't know how long it will take Steph to get back into Steph rhythm. I understand that he'll have to do that, but to me, they would still be the favorite. I mean, you look at this series, Minnesota has played them pretty strong at times. As Tom Thibodeau had said, we can't give up a few minutes here, a few minutes there, or in this case, a quarter. This was, again, a 1-point game going into the third quarter, and then they got destroyed by 30 points. And as far as what did Houston do different, they just started making shots. They were getting wide open threes early in this game and just missing them. Again, Harden was 0 for 7, and the rest of the guys were missing as well. Then they started hitting them. That's what they do. They take a lot of threes. You shoot 37%, but you make 16 of them because you take 43, and you're putting up some points.
Well, you also have guys whose better is just better. Harden goes for 22 in that quarter, 7 for 10, all 10 shots contested. This is a guy who just went out and showed you why he's been an MVP conversation guy for the last 3 years, why he's going to win it this year, and why Steph Curry and the Warriors are always equally as dangerous, because this is the model for both teams. The reason people are a little scared by Steph Curry and them is Steve Kerr comes out the other day and says Steph's not coming back anytime soon. That quote kind of rattled people. The same way we talked about the lack of confidence when Mike D'Antoni comes out and says we haven't really found our rhythm since we clinched that 1 seed. So you start thinking, is this going to be the same old Rockets playoff run?
Well, they found their rhythm. There's no question about that. And to your point, Senior, the idea that rhythm came against a defensive-minded coach like Tom Thibodeau, that was soul-crushing.
We gave them everything. This is a very explosive team, so we've had 2 really bad quarters. You can't do that against them. Paul and Harden, they were a load. Have to take a look at the film and see what we can do.
So here's the question. What do you take out of a film like that? What do you take out of the idea of giving up 50 points? Do you just say, hey, let's not even worry about it because it's just one of those things that happen? He talked about they played 2 bad quarters, basically. So the question then becomes, do you want to deep dive and analyze? Let's look at that third quarter and see what we did wrong, or just say, don't even bother and let's just put it behind us and try and go forward.
Well, I think you see if there are any specific situations that presented itself that you can learn from.
Stop James Harden from that step back three. Oh, wait, no one has done that all year.
Well, yeah, and if it comes down to that, and only you and that coaching staff know when you look back on it, if there's anything that's been a season-long coaching point, that's been a series coaching point that you mixed out on. But I've been a part of some teams where the coaching staff has just looked at a situation like that and said, let's take this film and let's throw it in the trash because we know going into the next game, they're not going to do that specific thing again. They've got capability to get them close to that, but they're not going to go for 50 and a quarter again.
And the beauty of what we do is we can jump ahead. Think of the next round potential matchup and how the teams are playing. Houston, what they're doing, playing Utah with Donovan Mitchell out of his mind. And Golden State, if you still don't have Steph Curry, but playing New Orleans and what they're doing with Anthony Davis, holy smokes. So it's been a really good first round. I agree, but man, I'm looking forward to that second round already. We're not even there yet.
This is exactly what we all wanted out of the NBA playoffs because the last 3 years it's sort of been SOP, standard operating procedure. You can say whatever you want. It's going to be Golden State and it's going to be Cleveland in the finals. You can't say that with the great certainty. I mean, look, it might still be that way, but it is going to be a struggle, it appears like, for either of those teams to get there, unlike the layup drill that it's been the last few years. Maybe the Timberwolves coaching staff should just take a page out of Tony Sparano. Remember the former Raiders head coach? When he got the job, he took a football and just buried it. Yeah. Buried it. We're just going to bury this, and it's going to be done and behind us. And I think they went on to win none games after that. So
it didn't work.
Didn't really work. But, hey, do whatever you want. Just try and move on, Tom Thibodeau, from what happened in the third quarter because there ain't nothing you can do about it now.
Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for the Golic Wingo podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. With Rocket Mortgage, you can apply simply and understand fully so you can mortgage confidently. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS consumeraccess.org number 3030.
Decking, railing, lighting, furniture, fencing, framing. At Trex, we make the most in outdoor living because you deserve to get more from your life outdoors. So why not start bringing your ideas to life now with the brand that's engineering what's next? To learn more about all of the outdoor solutions Trex has to offer, or to find a local retailer or a certified Trex Pro deck builder near you, visit Trex.com. That's TREX.com.
Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN News, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. And let's be honest, reminding you, we will be live this Thursday and Friday from Arlington, Texas for the NFL Draft, brought to you by DXL, the best XL fit. Hundreds of brands. DXL, the destination for XL.
Looking forward to being down there with the bus, the Golic and Wingo bus.
Absolutely.
It'll be a lot of fun. Good time for you to get a cold with you have much to do.
It's been brutal. It started last Thursday when I did the show, and then I had to do the schedule release show, and come back again in the morning. And thanks. Yeah. Thanks, Germs.
So now you only have to do our show, and you have to do the entire draft.
Thanks, Germs in the air.
Way to go.
So we'll look forward to that as we get continuing going to the draft. And again, it'll be a lot of fun. We'll have a lot of draft talk coming up in just a little bit. Mm-hmm. But again, sticking with the NBA playoffs, it's funny how one game can change your tune. Okay, so Ricky Rubio had the amazing triple-double in Game 3. And Russell Westbrook made it certain that, Ricky Rubio's going to do that once, but no. There's only one person that has the triple-double, and that's me. I'm here for all of them. That was Russell Westbrook. This is what he had to say after Game 3 and before Game 4.
I'm going to shut that shit off next game, though. Guarantee that.
Guaranteed. Shut down Ricky Rubio.
Shut it down.
You can run and tell that.
And not going to do that again.
Mm-hmm.
And to be fair, he did not have another triple-double.
He did not. 13 points, 6 rebounds, and 8 assists.
Yes, he did.
Got him.
But you know what else he was? He was also plus 22 when he was on the floor.
Yep.
And Russ was minus 14. So I guess you could make this a victory in the literal sense for Russell Westbrook.
Right, didn't get another triple-double.
He's going to shut that down.
Right.
No question about it. But he really didn't shut down Ricky, nor did he shut down the Utah Jazz.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are with the Thunder, one game away from elimination.
Well, Utah
in the first round.
Playing so well. Donovan Mitchell, I mean, again, the Rookie of the Year is a regular season award, so none of this has anything to do with Rookie of the Year, so we'll still see which way that goes with he or Ben Simmons. But he is, I mean, just progressing and becoming how soon into your rookie year when you're playing as much you are, you're not a rookie anymore. How much do you hear that? You know, that you're just going to be that veteran right away. But man, what they have to go forward with again after giving up, you know, or Gordon Hayward leaving. I mean, it's 28 years old, losing him, but what a team they have.
I was going to say, forget saying what if Gordon Hayward had stayed. I bet Gordon Hayward might be saying, what happens if I hadn't left?
Right, exactly. So that was Russell after Game 3, and then of course he was asked about that after Game 4. Let's just say tune changed.
Did you feel like your aggressiveness was appropriate to defend Rubio with in this game tonight?
What do you mean?
In the sense that you picked up 2 fouls pretty early in terms of the aggressiveness you were using on him, and
well, it's not about me or him. Let's get past that. We done with that.
Okay, so let's sum it up.
We're done with that, but you brought it up.
Let's sum it up. After Game 3, he went out of his way to say, "Oh, it is about me and him," and I'm going to shut that down right away. So again, this is what he said after Game 3.
I'm going to shut that shit off next game, though. Guarantee that.
And then when he was asked about it, this was what he said after Game 4.
Did you feel like your aggressiveness was appropriate to defend Rubio with in this game tonight?
What do you mean?
In the sense that you picked up 2 fouls pretty early in terms of the aggressiveness you were using on him, and
well, it's not about me or him. Let's get past that. We done with that.
Okay,
I guess we're done with that.
Times change.
Did hurt though. Picking him and having 4
things
fouls.
move pretty fast around here, Mike.
Yeah, life comes at you fast. 4 fouls in the first half. That's going to be life at you pretty fast for that game.
4 fouls in the first half and getting chirped by Mitt Romney when it happens.
Yeah,
that is life dealing you a pretty rough hand the last couple of games.
Do we have a problem with the Mitt Romney look?
Oh, I mean, I feel like that's pretty widely accepted that you don't put the jersey on over the button-down shirt. That's what he had going. He was courtside for the game last night, Mitt Romney, in Utah. And when Russ picked up that 4th foul, he looked over at him from the sideline and he held up the 4. He gave him the foul there, gave him a little chirp, while wearing the international sign for I can't hoop at all. The minute you put the jersey on over the button-down shirt, you have alerted everyone in your vicinity that you are not in the business of getting buckets in any way, shape, or form.
I feel like, look, I didn't we see Mitt Romney box? Didn't he box somebody once?
Did he? I don't recall that.
I'm pretty sure he went into the ring.
Mitt Romney feels like one of those guys that you could Photoshop into an old-timey bare-knuckle boxing poster and he would look right at home.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure he fought some exhibition match. Yeah, he fought like Evander Holyfield. That's right. Mitt Romney went up against Evander Holyfield in the boxing ring.
Did he bite him in the ear?
No, that had already been done.
Okay.
So you want to do that.
Oh, man.
We're looking at the video of this now, and it's a little, I'm not going to hit you, but I'm going to let you pretend.
Could you imagine if Evander Holyfield wound up on him and took off on him?
That looks like Mayweather McGregor.
Up until one of the last few rounds, no question.
That bite. Yeah, no, but like... I
don't know. Mitt's in pretty good shape, man.
Oh, he's in
pretty good shape.
He's definitely in good shape, but do you see a step-back jumper in that guy's game?
I see a step-back jab.
I don't think...
one of these leaning back like this.
Exactly. That looks like a guy that might tuck his suit jacket into his pants.
Well, what's wrong with that? No. You want to keep everything in control. You can't have any loose fabric.
Either way, it was all working for him in Utah last night.
It certainly was.
Taking that 3-1 lead, three games in a row. Donovan Mitchell absolutely taking over in this one. And I'll say it again, Russell Westbrook disappearing in the fourth quarter. If you want to say again,
hey, it's not about him and him.
Right,
it's not about them.
But this is about Russ. Yeah. And Russ being the man on that team, even though he has more help this year, and Russ being the aggressive one. I mean, isn't that why we love him? We love that stare. We love that look. We love that anger out of him. We love that aggressiveness all the time. Now, 4 fouls in the first half is going to take some of that away. But in 3 games, in the last 3 games, in the fourth quarter, being outscored 32-5 by Donovan Mitchell and only taking a few shots in those fourth quarters. I mean, I'm not sure what to look for there. That's very un-Russell Westbrook-like.
I just don't know what we're supposed to do with Russ at this point, because we understand what his place historically is going to be with the accomplishment for the last couple of years. But outside of LeBron James, has someone had more iterations of a team around them, from having all of the help in the world to being part of one of the best NBA duos that we've had, to being a solo act, to now having a different grouping of players around him? And yet through all of that, we've seen him get close. We've seen them get near the mountaintop. We saw them get really close to maybe being on the cusp of something great when it was him and KD pushing Golden State in the Western Conference Finals. But now post that are his best days team success-wise behind him, because we've seen the individual accomplishment. We're already over that this year.
And does the team change again? They get popped out in the first round. And Paul George, when it was all going well, was talking about, hey, I kind of like it here. And not so much maybe that first round exit. Is he going to be gone? So we're looking at another different team possibly.
What did they say? They were all in for this season, right? And this season now comes down to one game, and apparently Paul George needed to be told that it's just one game left.
Play like we played game one. I mean, they're just making tough shots. They're making big plays. You know, as Melo said, game 5 is obviously a must win, but I think us 3, this is what we want. Not necessarily be in this position, but to at this point give it everything we got. That's all it's going to take. Approach this game like it's game 7.
I love that, as he said, as Melo said, it's a must-win. Yeah,
it is.
You can't lose another one.
You best approach it like it's game 7.
Hopefully Melo didn't have to tell you that, right? I mean, you know that if you lose another one, it's over, and then we'll find out what happens. Really, when this series is over, I mean, look, they could come back, absolutely, but if it ends, then the NBA offseason really begins.
Right.
That's when it all starts, because what's going to happen with all the pieces in Oklahoma City and how that's going to have permutations and ramifications for everybody else. We'll also obviously have some social media to dive into in the NBA. Plus, maybe some of that in the NFL as well. Some of the NBA pettiness maybe going over to the NFL side on social media. Winning at sports and at sports broadcasting means changing things up.
Just like La Quinta Inns and Suites is changing up their look.
A renovated lobby that's so contemporary it even makes Golic look cool.
Yes, it does. And a totally updated fitness center that even has Wingo feeling like a workout.
I'm ripped. Plus plenty of comfortable spaces to hang out.
Yep, this La Quinta look definitely has a vibe of victory.
So you can just relax, refresh, and get ready for your next big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com.
That's when you know we are deep in the draft. Who is your next favorite guard after Quentin Nelson? Wow.
I'm so proud of our Twitter feed, man.
Awesome. Yeah.
The rest of the world is trying to have the conversation for the millionth time about the top quarterback coming off the board.
Quarterbacks, Saquon Barkley.
Right. Let's get into centers. Let's talk a little Billy Price. Let's talk James Daniels.
Let's go.
The middle rush.
Mason Cole. Let's go.
All these quarterbacks you're talking about, if they got to move their feet in the pocket, they're not going to do you any good. That's why we're talking guards and centers to stop that.
Isaiah Wynn was 6'2", playing left tackle last year.
Incredible. What an athlete he is.
He played every single position on the offense.
Love that kid. Love
be strong.
him.
Again,
versatile.
November 18th, tore the labrum in his shoulder. Said, I'll just keep playing. And he just kept playing all the way through the college football national championship game. Right,
winning.
Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN News as we are delving into straight talk. And, the other thing with straight talk, you got to be straight about your social media situation.
Yeah,
Kevin Durant seems to have stepped into it again. He liked something that he probably should not have liked, having moved through the burner accounts and all that kind of stuff already. Liked something where it said Russell Westbrook was the problem in Oklahoma City. Kevin, you're good, man. You're good. Championships. By the Bay. Have a real good chance to win another one. Enjoy you. I don't understand why this is going back down that road.
It's just amazing, and he can excuse it away as something accidental or a mistake in this.
By the way, that's what he said. He said it was a total accident. That's what he said.
It can be a total accident, but I always think
Yeah.
about what got you there, especially when it comes to something like an Instagram comment, because it was a post talking about what advice he would give Giannis Antetokounmpo about should he feel compelled to stay in Milwaukee if he's not having fun there. So maybe you're tagged in the post and it got you there. But if you're wading through the comments and you're looking at this and Instagram gives you that option to like those comments and all of a sudden you're in a spot where that's possible, it means you were looking for it anyway. If you're 80 weeks deep on your ex-girlfriend's younger brother's Instagram page and you accidentally throw down a double tap, guess what? You were there doing dirt to begin with, so you just got caught doing the dirt that was already there.
There you go. Completely agree with it. Not even sure what you said, but I'm going to agree anyway and just keep moving on.
Yeah, that was...
Wow,
I
just went way...
You guys understand any of that? You good?
Yes.
You know
that
what?
was a lot.
I caught bits and pieces of it.
That's all you need, a few buzzwords here and
Bottom
there.
line is Kevin Durant Durant's making his own bed, right?
Yeah, no, he's not very good at this.
So there he was, made his own bed.
Need to creep better.
And the other guy in this, a guy you never hear from anywhere, is quotes nothing, is Julio Jones. All of a sudden, he's in the news for his social media or lack thereof of what he is now taken off his social media.
Well, it's a couple of things. First of all, he's absent from the start of voluntary workouts, which he normally is a part of. But then he deletes pictures from his Instagram. But it's not just that he deleted pictures, it's what he deleted.
Right.
He deleted all references to the Atlanta Falcons and all photos regarding the Atlanta Falcons, and that is a little bit curious.
Yeah, it is, and the couple of reasons for it was, number one, it was, I believe that the Atlanta saying that he's just kind of resetting everything.
Yeah, and he spent some time at Alabama's Pro Day, was supposedly being an example for the kids at Alabama.
Yeah, so resetting, and then that was the other that I was getting to, is that he's kind of setting that example for the kids there and to show the proper way to do social media. But everybody's wondering, is there something underlying here? He has 3 more years on his deal. He's going to make, $14 million? So he's down the list on highest paid, but he did sign the deal a couple of years ago, though he's down the list now on as far as, what he's going to make this year on highest paid wide receivers. So a lot of people are trying to look where maybe you shouldn't or maybe you should. We don't know. Is this a way of saying, I need a little bit more money? But you never got that from Julio Jones. I mean, again, he's kind of like the Kawhi Leonard of the Spurs. You just never hear from them. Never hear from them.
Strong silent type on this.
Well, the interesting thing here is, look, whenever you sign a deal, 2 years later you're going to be underpaid. That's just the way it goes because everything's going to be escalated. So I think that's part of this. They can pretend like it's not, but if you're only deleting the stuff that has to do with your team from your social media page, then that just to me says something that we're not getting a part of here.
So as we do all this, and everybody's going to do it today, could it be as simple as he is showing guys from Alabama, hey, be careful about tweeting stuff about your team. I'm taking the stuff from my team down and reorganizing or whatever he's going to do.
To show the reaction it would get.
Exactly, to show you Alabama players about, I don't know. I have no idea, but this is what everybody's speculating on because you never get anything from Julio Jones.
And this is how it's done, Kevin Durant. Take note. Don't be so damn transparent. Leave a little bit of mystery to this. Yeah. Because Julio Jones isn't going to come out and say, I made a mistake. He's not going to say anything. He's going to do the right thing, which is do whatever the hell he wants to do on this and then back out. And then let all of us color and inject our own situation and our own thoughts and feelings on this. It's going to be handled behind closed doors. Now, he let a little bit of that frustration out, and I'm sure part of that is calculated in this, but this is how you troll on social media. Not doing what Kevin Durant's doing, where it's obvious, where you're liking posts about the guy that you used to play with.
Right.
This is a little more, we don't know.
Again, if you want to go the money side, the 5-year, $71 million deal, $47 guaranteed. But this year's average, he falls below Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, DeAndre Hopkins, Sammy Watkins, and A.J. Green. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it. He doesn't seem like the type that it would because of the deal he signed. He is getting $47 million guaranteed off that deal. So that because it's Julio Jones and because you don't hear a lot about him, all of a sudden this does raise an eyebrow to you.
Step 2 now, start liking posts by other teams. Yeah. This is the formula, Julio. Quintorris Lopez-Jones got to be out here. Instagram, double tapping everywhere else.
Yeah, that is definitely Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. By the way, when we mentioned the fact that Mitt Romney was wearing the Utah jersey over the button down, we neglected the most important part. It was a Rodney Hood jersey. It was a Rodney Hood jersey. No longer participating with the Utah Jazz. Coming up,
send him a
deep
jersey.
dive at the top of the NFL draft with Giants GM Dave Gettleman. We'll discuss
decking, railing, lighting, furniture, fencing, framing. At Trex, we make the most in outdoor living because you deserve to get more from your life outdoors. So why not start bringing your ideas to life now with the brand that's engineering what's next? To learn more about all of the outdoor solutions Trex has to offer, or to find a local retailer or a certified Trex Pro deck builder near you, visit Trex.com. That's Trex.com.
Better than a triple shot of espresso. That'll keep you going.
Smokes.
Golic and Wingo on a Tuesday morning on ESPN Radio and ESPN News. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. You can get in touch with us at the 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed or give us a voicemail at 860-506-5505. That number once again, 860-506-5505. Mike Golic Jr., Mike Golic Sr. and Trey Wingo.
Balance that headbanging music off with a little country occasionally.
Right.
You know
we had a little Jake Owen yesterday.
Okay.
Jake Owen played yesterday.
All right, okay.
Jake Owen, of course, obviously a great country superstar. We had Marty Fish in here yesterday, among those with Marcus Spears filling in while you two were out gallivanting around South Bend.
There you go.
And come to find out that Marty Fish, by the way, is the world's most interesting human.
He does have an interesting story,
runs in
doesn't
an eclectic circle.
Yeah.
Jake Owen was the best man at his wedding.
That's amazing.
He was in Sergio Garcia's wedding. And he hangs out with Justin Verlander and Aaron Rod, all these guys.
So he was at Sergio when Sergio wore his green jacket.
Exactly,
right?
He was there. He was there, and he told the story. Cool. He told the story of Sergio had an interesting run as the Masters defending champion. It all ended in the first round. Went on 15. He put 5 balls in the water, and Sergio and Fishy had been texting, and he said, "Hey, Marty said, hang in there, tough spot." And Sergio said, thanks, appreciate that. And then Marty tried to, lighten the mood a little bit and said, well, you did tell me those new wedges spun a lot. And Sergio responded, too soon, Fishy, too soon. Too soon. So Marty Fish, the world's most interesting man, but that's why I had a little country music on.
Okay.
Lots to get into, lots to talk about, and let us start with what's trending. And it starts with the Rockets outscoring the Timberwolves 50-20 in the third quarter, and they won 119-100 to take the 3-1 lead in their first-round series.
Yeah, listen, this is all about volume shooting. You saw Houston early in this game absolutely just clanking threes, wide open. They move the ball around to get that wide-open three. They'll have an open mid-range jumper, and they'll pass it up to get the ball back outside, past the three-point line, and they were missing left and right. Harden started out 0 for 7, and then it was only a 1-point game at halftime until they outscored Minnesota 50-20 in the third quarter. James Harden had 22 points. Again, volume, 43 threes they take. They average, I believe, 42 a game, so they're right there. They hit 16 of them, not the greatest percentage in the world, but when you shoot enough and make that to get that percentage, you're getting a lot of points that way. And Minnesota has been kind of hanging in, but as Tom Thibodeau said, we just play poorly enough to give away a run like that, and that's a heck of a run.
Or he said the Rockets played good enough. Like James Harden had the best, most concise synopsis. I didn't want me to say we scored 50 points. We locked down better on defense. We started hitting some of our shots in offense for that spurt, and this is the ceiling this team has. This is why we've been enamored with them all year, because we know this is the right hook they've got waiting for you.
Well, look, the other thing here is Houston is being who they are, and that's being the Sam's Club of three-point shooters.
Yeah.
It's all about volume.
Yep.
Everyone has now played 4 games. The Rockets have taken 173 threes. The next closest team has taken 129. They've made 57. So Houston isn't even making their shots yet. They have the third lowest three-point shooting percentage so far, just under 33%, but they're taking more threes than anybody, and that in and of itself is giving them this cushion. So again, this is just the math that the Golden State Warriors showed us a few years ago. Right. What did GM Daryl Morey say? We are obsessed.
Everything we do is about beating
the Golden State Warriors, and they've just taken their formula and just multiplied it, and it's working, and they're not even hitting their shots yet. So that's the amazing thing going forward with what the Rockets are now 1 win away from closing out the Minnesota Timberwolves. Meanwhile, Donovan Mitchell put in 33 in the Jazz's 113-96 win over the Thunder, as they're now up 3-1 in their first-round series over OKC.
We keep talking about LeBron James and what he's kind of doing as a one-man show for Cleveland to even up their series with the Pacers. He scored 35 points in the fourth quarter. Donovan Mitchell scored 36. He's outscored LeBron in the fourth quarter. More importantly, for the series and actual head-to-head who he's playing against, he has outscored Russell Westbrook in the fourth quarter of the last 3 games, 32-5. Russell Westbrook in the last 3 games. Now, this last one you can understand because he had 4 fouls at halftime, so he had to be careful. But the last 3 games total, he's only taken 5 shots in the fourth quarter. I would say the most aggressive player in the NBA we all think of as Russell Westbrook. Being that, so non-productive in the fourth quarter to me is surprising.
I think if you're looking at this playoff run so far and you look at the star performance that have really stuck out, I think right now you could put Anthony Davis maybe at the top of the heap with what he's pulled off. But then right behind it, I would say Victor Oladipo with the Pacers in that series and Donovan Mitchell. What Victor Oladipo and Donovan Mitchell specifically have done from those guard spots, how aggressive they've played and the load that they've shouldered for their teams and the edge they've given them in these series has been so impressive to start this off. And for Donovan Mitchell, we know it's the start to what he hopes is a long, storied playoff career.
Yeah, and again, Mitchell doing things that have been just unbelievable in terms of what we've compared it to Michael Jordan. He again 110 through his first 110 points this series, fifth most in NBA history by a rookie, and the most since Michael Jordan did that. So very, very impressive on what he's doing. And then we got buckets and buckets and buckets today. 3 Game 5s on the way. In the NBA playoffs. The Warriors and 76ers, each one win away from moving on, when the Bucks and Celtics are tied at 2 games apiece.
Yeah, what a series that's turning into as well. It's getting a little chippy at times. Jaylen Brown, the youth with Boston, is incredible. Scored 30 points twice in this series. The last Celtic player with 3 30-point games in a single postseason series, you got to go back to 88, and that was Kevin McHale. So that series, and not what Antetokounmpo was doing, the great tip-in he had with 5 seconds to go in the last game. And then for the 76ers, I mean, they've been fourth quarter. It's been pretty close between Miami. I think only a couple of points separates them through 3 quarters. Fourth quarter, I believe it's plus 46 for the 76ers and what they've done in that fourth quarter. You look at Ben Simmons. If they win this game, if he gets 11 assists and 7 rebounds, he'll have averaged a triple-double. He would join Magic Johnson as the only rookie to average a triple-double in a playoff series. And I have no real worries about Golden State and the Spurs, even though the Spurs took this one game. All of a sudden people started saying, oh, no. Who's good as Kevin Durant and Clay? They're going to be just fine.
No, I think this is more about just the resolve of the Spurs, especially given the fact that Pop hasn't been on the court for the last 2 games, won't be on the court again for Game 5 in this series, but they've continued to go out and show the pedigree with that. The interesting one that you mentioned to me is Philadelphia, and now we start to weigh just how far we think this can go this year, because the one thing we've seen is this is an Eastern Conference that no longer has the same stranglehold on it at the top that it has.
No, look, this is a very refreshing first round of the NBA playoffs. There's no way around it. Again, we'll keep saying this because it's so different. Last year, Golden State 12-0 to the NBA Finals. Cleveland 12-1. None of that is going to happen this year, especially since obviously they both lost games. Cleveland's lost 2 and Golden State has lost 1.
Steph Curry's going to lose more. I mean, Golden State's going to lose more because Steph Curry's not back.
And Houston's may be a better team. They may be a better team. I don't think any of us know who the best team is in the East right now.
I'll ask you both right now.
Yeah.
Golden State and Houston meet in the Western Conference Finals. And Steph Curry has not dribbled the ball one time in the game. But he's come back for that series. He's ready to go. Ready to go for the beginning of that series. Who are you picking?
I might take Houston.
Golden State.
I'm taking Golden State
I might take Houston because the rust factor matters, And then in the East, let's be honest, none of us have any idea what's going to happen in the East. We can say, oh, hey, listen, until LeBron is carted off, you got to kill that guy. He's been to 7 straight finals. I get all that, but at some point, the rest of the team has to show something else. And we don't know if that's going to be the case as we run up to the buzzer.
Boom.
On what's trending. Mm-hmm. Boom. You know what else is trending?
What's that?
It's 2 days away from the start of the NFL draft, and we're excited about this.
Give it to us.
Just so people understand what we're talking about in historical context in this year's draft. There is the potential. Let's change it. It is very likely that 5 quarterbacks will go in the first round. It is possible that 6 might go in the first round. Mm-hmm. In the common draft era that goes back to 1967, we've only had 5 or more quarterbacks go in the first round twice. 6 in the vaunted class of 1983, which was really not so vaunted when you look at it. Yes, 3 Hall of Famers, but the other 3 not even close to the Hall of Fame. Champagne, Tony Eason, Ken O'Brien, and Todd Blackledge. On the other hand, you have Marino, Elway, and Jim Kelly. And then in 1999, we had 5. So that's what's happening, or what's going to happen, what we believe will happen Thursday, will have only happened twice since 1967. So it is a very interesting and historical draft from that perspective. And then what makes it even more interesting is the team that may not take a quarterback, and that is the Giants picking at number 2.
Well, I think that's where it starts, because here's a couple of and this is what you do around the draft, is speculation about everything. And to me, there are 2 things that should be in stone right now. Actually, a couple, maybe 3. Cleveland should not take Saquon Barkley number 1. They should take a quarterback number 1. Those are 2 things there. And the talk of,
is that 1 or 2 things?
That's 2 things.
That's 2 things.
We're all confused.
Not take Saquon Barkley.
Take a quarterback and don't take. It should be 1 thing. Just take a quarterback.
So
blah 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 blah.
It's 1 thing.
All right. So we've settled on 1.
1 thing.
Yeah.
Take a quarterback number 1.
All right.
The other thing is, all this talk about Cleveland taking a quarterback at 1 and 4. Please stop.
3 words. Stop that now.
Please just stop the ridiculousness of trying to justify why you would do that. It shouldn't be done, and it won't be done, and there's no reasoning to do it at all. So they're going to take a quarterback number one. They have to take a quarterback number
That's one.
The only way you would take Saquon Barkley number one if you were the Cleveland Browns, if you gave up the rest of your draft and traded up to take the number 2 pick as well. If you're picking 1 and 2 in the draft. Then you would take Saquon number 1.
The old 1-2 punch.
And a quarterback number 2. But I don't think that's going to happen either, which goes back to Trey's point. The draft starts at 2.
Correct.
Cleveland's going to take Sam Darnold or Josh Allen, depending on who you talk to, blah, 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 blah. And then it starts with the Giants. What are they going to do? Pick someone, trade back. That's where it's going to get so interesting.
Is that number 3 on the list? Are we at 3 now here?
I've lost count now. I never should have put myself in that box.
The list format was suspect for that
really
to begin
was.
with.
I should have just started listing things.
The Giants as a skeleton key is the most notable point of the draft, and to Dave Gettleman and the credit of the rest of that organization, it's been shrouded in enough mystery about where they could go with this pick based on what they've said and put out there, and that's really what this time of year is about. I heard a cut from Adam Schefter that really indicated what this week in particular is about. It is about misinformation being introduced.
It's about lying.
Out lying.
Let's be clear about that. I think Sean Payton has gone out of his way to say none of these quarterbacks are good because I think he wants to take Lamar Jackson as the eventual heir apparent to Drew Brees. And now you have the Giants who sit at number 2. And you can make a very compelling argument that they should take a quarterback at number 2 because Eli Manning is on the back 9 of his career, might be on the 17th tee for all we know. But they're entertaining the idea of not taking a quarterback, or are they? Because this is what GM Dave Gettleman talks about, whom Mel Kiper said yesterday on our air was the best player in the draft, even though he would never take him in the first round, running back Saquon Barkley. Here's GM David Gettleman on Saquon.
I'm not going to lie. He's a tremendous talent. You put film on, and Penn State's, a defensive guy, and if they're playing Penn State, you end up watching Saquon. Saquon's very gifted and talented. He's one of those guys that my mother could have scouted. She could have figured that one out.
Oh, so all right. So he's the love is thick for Saquon, but then he takes it one step further, talking about the position of the running back.
I think the devaluing of the running back is really a myth. Okay, you have a great running back, he immediately makes your quarterback better, your offensive line better, and your passing game better.
And all of that may be true, but Mike, you and I came to the same conclusion, Mike Sr., to the same conclusion listening to this before the show. This sounds to me like Dave Gettleman is saying, hey, he's the best player in the draft. We may take him at 2. If you want to hit him or somebody else, you might want to give me a call. You might want to have my phone ring.
Here's the thing. I don't believe anything anybody says at this point about anybody. Liars. And the other thing he says that I completely agree with is the devaluing of the running back. I think is as long as that running back can catch the ball out of the backfield, I agree with that. The pure runner, I do think. That right now that's Leonard Fournette, but that was Todd Gurley early on in his career. But then they started throwing him the ball more. Look at it, and I remember saying they have to make him part of the passing game. Saquon Barkley became that in Penn State last year as well, so he can catch the ball. Fournette's going to have to do that because I don't think you can just live on a guy carrying the ball 25 to 30 times a game. I know they went to the AFC Championship. A lot of that was based on their defense. He ran the ball really well, got nicked up a little bit, but you have to catch the ball out of the backfield. In that case, I feel that the devaluing of the running back is wrong as long as you have the multi talented running backs.
Well, this is kind of like when we have MVP discussions and we debate what valuable means, because value in this case does have a few meanings. The value of having a good running back on your team is well noted. The middle of the field right now is the modern currency of the NFL, whether that's tight ends, running backs, whether on the defensive side it's middle linebackers that'll be much more in vogue in the top of the draft this year, those hybrid safeties that we've seen. There's value there, but value is also how much are you willing to pay and how much draft commodity are you willing to use on those positions. And so when you say value, there's value in having a great running back. There's value in what Philadelphia and New England have had in their backfields, but there's not draft value in that. You're not taking a guy this high in the draft. That's the devaluing of the running back everyone's talking about. But to your guys' point, that's the smoke and mirrors of this situation, because I don't think New York really wants to take him that high.
Let's take it one step further. Okay, you're right with everything that you just said. But we had 2 running backs go in the first round last year. Leonard Fournette at number 4 and Christian McCaffrey at 8. And they both played fine.
They did.
They played very well.
Fournette ran well. McCaffrey caught a lot of balls out of the backfield.
Yeah. But there's no question that the 2 best rookie running backs last year came in the 3rd round.
Right.
Kareem Hunt and Alvin Kamara. So as good as you think Saquon Barkley is, are you willing to risk the number 2 overall pick in the draft for a guy you might get a comparable player later on in the draft as opposed to trying to This is the thing that most people don't understand. It's not about picking a player. It's about maximizing the value of the pick.
Right.
And when you have the second overall pick, again, the Giants have only been this high one other time.
It worked out well.
They took Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah, so it can work out.
It can work out, but you've got to get that kind of transcendent player with the second overall pick. So if you're not all in, as much as you say you might be, on Saquon Barkley at the number 2 pick, then you have to say the value of the pick is more than the value of the player.
Well, so it's really 3 things here. Here I go with the listing again, right?
Oh, God.
Oh, boy.
Well, get a counter.
Buckle up. It really is only 3.
Here we go.
All right.
And it depends on who you're buying into if you're the Giants. 1, you take Saquon Barkley, you say he can't miss. Who's a defensive player that you say can't
miss?
Bradley Chubb. Bradley Chubb is 2. Or you trade it down and accumulate. Because
and that's 3.
Then that's it.
Okay, we got it.
I got it right.
Gold, silver, and bronze.
I thought about it in my head to make sure I was only going to say 3.
On it.
But this is based on the fact that they had the chance at 2, and they took Lawrence Taylor, and it couldn't have hit any better. So if you get a can't-miss guy, and you know you need a running game, but we keep saying you need a running game, you need a dynamic running back who can run the ball and catch the ball out of the backfield, what he can do for that offense. But we also know what helped lead the Giants when they were going to the Super Bowls, that NASCAR rushing of the defense.
Correct.
That's what Bradley Chubb can give you as well. Or do you say, okay, while we think those guys can't miss, what can we accumulate? And this is where scouting comes into play. If you have an eye on a guy who nobody is really talking about, you can get him in that 2nd and that 3rd and that 4th round, and you can turn him into something. Man, that's when you really win the draft.
Yeah, you can win listen, creating value, that's where the Patriots have made their money for years. Seattle getting guys as undrafted free agents, hitting on that gold mine in the back where you've got more picks anyway. But at the top, you've got to understand what your team is. You can look at let's just stick with the running back position. It's what you decide to do once you take that guy. If you're New York, it doesn't mean you have to commit to the run, but you have to commit to featuring this guy as one of the main pieces of your offense if he comes here. What do we hear when the Carolina Panthers drafted Christian McCaffrey? This is about reworking that whole offense around the short and intermediate pass game.
Except they didn't do that.
Except they didn't do it. Which doesn't work when you do that. But look what, let's say, the Dallas Cowboys did when you draft Zeke Elliott 4 overall, and you go out and you have one of the most dominant rushing attacks in the league because that's the identity that you want to forge for yourself. So if you've got a commitment to an identity that features the player there, you've created value, and you've created that by finding the appropriate match.
All right, I have another thing to ask you guys.
Yeah.
A choice of 4 things.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, here we go.
Man, 4, you've added to the list now.
You realize you're treading with fire.
I am.
It's like doing my tongue twister.
Here we go. So the top of the draft is where everybody grades and says these are the can't miss guys, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So the ones you count on. But we always see, and you just mentioned 2 of them in Hunt and especially Kamara,
right,
who just explode from a lower draft pick. So we know that's going to happen as well. But the guys that are looked at as counted on, I'm giving you 4 choices. Pick your quarterback. Whoever you think your best quarterback is, that's 1. Okay? Saquon Barkley, Bradley Chubb, Quentin Nelson. In the next 4 years, one of those players will be a 2-time All-Pro. Not Pro Bowler, but All-Pro. Which one is he?
Well, I might go Quentin Nelson.
You may go Quentin Nelson because we've seen that, and the guy went to the same school, Notre Dame, and that's been Zach Martin, who's been in the league 4 years, has been in the Pro Bowl all 4 years.
Pro Bowl all
and
4.
First team All-Pro 2 of the years, I believe, and second team one of the, I think, a third year.
And again, this is the hardest thing to do because it's all predicted on health.
No, that's exactly right. Yeah. But these are the guys, right? So whoever your top quarterback is, that's going to be your franchise quarterback. I'll let you pick whichever one you want. And then the 3 can't-miss guys, running back, rush guy, and offensive lineman. So which one would be the All-Pro, 2 out of the next 4 years?
I'll go one better, and I can rank them in order of that. I would say
Whoa, you're going to try and list as well?
I'm going to try to list as well.
Good luck.
You start at
we do in the Golic house.
Good luck.
I'd go Q number 1. Yeah. I would go Chubb number 2.
I would too.
I would go Barkley number 3, and then I would go your top quarterback number 4, purely because you look at the difficulty in those areas. What it takes to be a top-tier quarterback, especially now, tends to take longer to develop.
Agreed.
With the offensive line, you're talking about an area what's more volatile across the league, so a sure thing is harder to come by, and Q's as close to a sure thing as you've had. And then pass rushers. We know you need those going out of style, and you have opportunities to go out there and
here's the thing.
Greatness.
With 2 of those positions, you will, well, actually 3 the quarterback, but I agree with you. I think quarterback would be the 4th because we even saw what Deshaun Watson did. He was on his way to that monster year and then got hurt, but still, that's more the, limited. They need a little bit more time. With Chubb and Saquon Barkley, you get to see it.
Right.
Because Chubb's going to have sack numbers and tackles, or we're going to see that in Saquon rushing numbers and catches out of the backfield, so you can see visibly how well they can do. Not so much Quentin Nelson, because there's nothing tangible in a box score that you're going to see outside of what opponents are going to say of like, oh man, I don't want to play. That
He's
guy is a hell of a player.
Absolutely. Look, and the other thing that goes against Barkley for the Giants is that they, you can have the best running back, but if you don't have a line, it doesn't matter. Now, they got Nate Solder from the Patriots, but remember, they also lost Pugh to the Cardinals and Weston Richburg to the 49ers. And the offensive line was a big problem for the Giants last year. You can have the greatest offensive running back in the world, but if you can't block for him, it doesn't matter. I'm
gonna flip yours. I'm gonna go Q number 1, Barkley 2, Chubb 3. I think those are the two maybe interchangeable, and then the quarterback 4. My quarterback is Rosen.
I would go Rosen or Darnold. I'm on the L.A. quarterbacks one way or the other.
Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for the Golic Wingo podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. Rocket Mortgage is simple, allowing you to fully understand all the details and be confident you're getting the right mortgage for you. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS, consumeraccess.org number 3030.
Every deck is made for standing on, but there's only one that's always had a way of standing out. So if you're looking to bring more style, comfort, and creativity to your life outdoors, call on the brand that's known for making the most in outdoor living. From decking, railing, and lighting to furniture, fencing, and framing, at Trex, we're engineering what's next in outdoor living. To learn more about all of the outdoor solutions Trex has to offer, call 1-800-289-TREX or visit Trex.com. That's TREX.com.
3 shows in Dallas. We do a radio TV, and about 85 hours of draft on TV. So good luck.
What could possibly go wrong?
Luck. I don't care what happens on your stinking TV draft show.
Thanks, buddy.
Only care about Golic and Wingo.
Appreciate that, but I do have to do that coming up a little bit again. Again, we'll be in Dallas Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then the draft starts Thursday, Friday, and all day Saturday. And hopefully I'll have something left in the tag for Monday morning. We'll get to that and all the draft stuff a little bit later, but Tim McMahon, our ESPN.com NBA writer, joins us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Get the feeling of being rewarded with gold status at Shell with the Fuel Rewards program. Download the Fuel Rewards app, join, and start saving 5 cents a gallon today. Look, it'd be easier if we didn't have all these damn commercials. No, we like the commercials. Let's be clear. We love the commercials.
What are you saying? What are you, Satan? Stop it.
I don't know what was wrong with me. Tim was there last night. Tim, it was a 1-point game at the half between Minnesota and Houston, and then the 50-point explosion. How quiet was it by the end of the third quarter in Minnesota?
I tell you what, that was absolutely amazing. It's funny, Mike D'Antoni was talking the other day about how the Rockets really haven't played well, not just in the playoffs, but since they clinched the top overall seed. He said they hadn't found their rhythm. Well, they found their rhythm at halftime, and it was just, James Harden absolutely took the game over, and then it was like he was just taking turns with Chris Paul, and it was kind of the epitome of what they'd kind of done all season long. It took them 14 quarters, but they finally found their rhythm in the playoffs.
And Tim, this is nothing more than their shots just started falling, correct? There was nothing magical about them changing in the offense, was there?
D'Antoni took credit. He said it was all about adjustments.
Sure. Absolutely.
What, the ball adjusting in the air to go in the hoop?
Or just shooting more?
Yeah, right. Now, and obviously he was kidding. He was joking about that. No, look, the part of the beauty of the Rockets' offense is its simplicity. They very rarely call plays. They run a lot of pick and roll, but really a lot of it is just, they set screens just to get switches, and whoever has the best one-on-one opportunity, the best isolation opportunity, whether it's Harden or Chris Paul, they go to work. And, man, they went to work in the third quarter. And it was funny, Harden started off 0-7 in the first quarter, and it looked like, might be another one of those nights. And then, like you said, suddenly in the third quarter, the shots started falling, and once he kind of got in a rhythm, it was over.
Tim McMahon with us, ESPN.com NBA writer. Yeah, there was a little bit of rhythm, but Tim, the amazing thing to me is It's really just about how many shots they're taking for Houston right now. Everybody's played at least 4 games in the playoffs. They've taken 173s. Nobody else has taken more than 129. They're only making them at a 33% clip. So imagine how good Houston can be if they actually start making their normal amount of threes.
Yeah, and that we saw that in the second half last night, and really, the other thing is they played great defense in that third quarter, and that's the thing that Paul and Harden actually were emphasizing after the game is, the shots started falling, but they were able to get out and run. They were able to kind of play downhill because they were getting stops, and when they get stops, that's what they're able to do. They're able to get out in transition. They're able to. Obviously, those two guys are going to draw a lot of attention, and when that happens, the ball's going to move. And this is a team that they're going to shoot 40, 50 threes in a game, and like you said, typically they're going to hit in the high 30s, and the math's not that difficult. When that's the case, it's a lot of points.
Tim, the fun thing we can all do is we can speculate going forward. While the players have to play the game that's going on that night, we can say, hey, boy, it looks like a great second-round matchup with Houston and Utah. So let's say, hey, it looks like a great matchup with those two teams. And the way Utah is playing right now, the way Donovan Mitchell is playing right now, start to give us a little preview of that series.
Yeah, and look, when you talk about the Jazz, obviously Donovan Mitchell has been spectacular, but really – that team turned its season around with defense. Rudy Gobert being, I think he's going to be the defensive player of the year, deservedly so. Quinn Snyder does a great job coaching that team, and they didn't have a lot of success against the Jazz during the regular season, but obviously you look at what the Jazz have been over the last 3 months now, and it's interesting. I mean, they're a team that forces teams into taking tough shots. Gobert shuts down the paint. That makes it a lot easier for the rest of the Jazz to really contest 3-point shots. And the Rockets, Daryl Morey, his whole kind of genius system, along with D'Antoni, is they don't take many mid-range shots, and that's what the Jazz try to force teams to do is to take tough mid-range shots. So it'll be a real interesting matchup there. Now, I was also in the building the night that James Harden scored 56 points on the Jazz and just hit step-back three after step-back three. And sometimes, with a guy like Harden, it doesn't matter what you're trying to take away. When he steps back and knocks him down from 28 feet, there's not a whole lot you can do defensively to stop that.
Again, the season series this year, Houston won all 4 games. 3 of them were played before Christmas, and Utah certainly looks like they're playing a little bit better right now.
Yeah, no question. And that's really why when you look at the season series, the Jazz, since January 24th, only the Rockets were a better team in the league record-wise. Before that, they were 9 games under 500. So, you can only tell so much when the Jazz really were two completely different teams. Again, one of the best teams in the NBA, and but before that point, a team that really kind of had to find itself, and Gobert missing time, and really with the Jazz, the other thing is Ricky Rubio has morphed into a completely different player. He struggled early in the season big time. Over these last 3 months, he's been absolutely spectacular. And, teams are going to dare him to beat him with his 3-point shot. Over the last, month or 2+ months of the regular season, he was a 44% 3-point shooter, which, I'm in Minnesota right now. There's people here that absolutely would not believe that.
No question. Look, Ricky Rubio's game flowing much like his locks are underneath that trucker baseball cap he wears after every game. Tim McMahon works for ESPN 103.3 in Dallas. We'll be there tomorrow. We appreciate that. Tim, thanks for joining us this morning on what was an interesting game between the Rockets and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks for having me, guys.
So, again, do you feel it's? I just feel a little more like it's going to be a really bumpy road for Golden State.
I'm looking forward, as I said.
I just want to see it.
To the first round and how good it's been. I'm salivating at the second round. These matchups. New Orleans, with what they've done already and how good Anthony Davis looks against Golden State, maybe still sans Steph Curry, and then Houston and Utah, do not be fooled by the 4-0 wins for Houston in the regular season over Utah the way they're playing right now. Boy, it sets up for a couple of great matchups.
Yeah, I think they were 30-6 down the stretch of the regular season. Utah
been
was
fantastic,
or 29-6. One of those, I think it was 29-6 down the last 35
It's a great
games.
first round that I should just be enjoying, and I'm already looking forward to those matchups.
This is why we can't have nice things. You're always looking ahead. Let's just
live in the moment.
Live in the moment.
Yes.
Be present. Be present.
I'm with you.
Winning at sports and at sports broadcasting means changing things up.
Just like La Quinta Inns and Suites is changing up their look.
A renovated lobby that's so contemporary it even makes Golic look cool.
Yes, it does. And a totally updated fitness center that even has Wingo feeling like a workout.
I'm ripped. Plus plenty of comfortable spaces to hang out.
Yep, this La Quinta look definitely has a vibe of victory.
So you can just relax, refresh, and get ready for your next big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com.
I've eaten Detroit Airport sushi. I am indestructible.
Well, I mean, but that's a restaurant that serves sushi. We're talking about
in the Detroit Airport.
I would trust airport sushi a lot more than ballpark.
Yeah,
in Detroit?
I will not have you disparaging the Detroit Airport. That's a line you cannot cross.
Wow. I think the Detroit Airport is fantastic.
Listen, if you haven't flown through the Delta terminal at Detroit, you're missing an experience.
They have really done a great job.
It is one of the best terminals on the planet.
Completely agree.
Get to Detroit just to go through the Delta terminal at the Detroit Airport.
Golic and Wingo, presented by Progressive Insurance. Protecting your small business is a big deal. Cover what you've worked so hard for. Visit ProgressiveCommercial.com.
All right, Golic and Wingo with you on ESPN Radio and ESPN News, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. And, Mike, sometimes you go out on that limb, and sometimes that limb breaks.
Yep.
And sometimes that limb is as sturdy as you could possibly imagine.
Uh-huh.
And you were on a sturdy limb the other day because there was a story that Adam Schefter had last week where it was not yet clear 100% whether or not Tom Brady would return. And to Adam's credit, he talked to people on all camps.
Yeah, he did.
And they said no one had said whether or not Brady was coming back. Then Adam followed up this week. And lo and behold, Tom Brady is back for the 2018 season. And you said there was 0% chance.
0% chance.
That he wouldn't be back.
I'm going further than that. 0% chance that Belichick, Brady, and Gronk are all going to be in their positions for this year. Now, what I do agree with, and that Adam is reporting and others as well, that there is more strife this year
friction
with these relationships than in the past. That I completely agree with, but never ever once did I think that was going to change if these guys are going to be playing there. To me, Gronk is the biggest question mark.
Yes.
A lot of people say he still is a big question mark. I do not agree with that. I think he will be back as well, but let me tell you what. The dude is entertaining.
He certainly is. He was appearing somewhere for a dirt bike contest?
Dirt bike. He was wearing all like the Monster Energy drink, like a helmet and shirt and all that. It was unbelievable. Doing a presser for dirt biking.
Yeah. And here is Gronk, dirt bike, whatever.
Yeah.
As dirt bikers say, let's do that dirt bike.
Let's do that dirt biking.
Here was Gronk talking to reporters in full dirt bike mode.
Are you playing with the Patriots this year?
Status is doing really great. I've been riding dirt bikes. I've been training really hard. I can vroom, vroom really good. I can ride that bike like no other. And my speed is up today.
Are you still contemplating retirement from football?
Depends how my racing skills go today. I think I can beat
Two things there. One, is it just me or did he sound a little bit like two-time U.S. Open and our golf analyst Andy North there for a second? Did he sound a little bit like Andy North there? That was bizarre. And secondly, Gronk all about that dirt bike.
Oh, you have to watch. Gronk is so entertaining. He turned because every question, obviously, was about whether he was coming back, and he turned them all back into dirt biking somehow, some way. There are two things that are can't miss, in my opinion. Whenever Gronk is talking, and listening to Barkley, Shaq, Ernie, and Kenny, it's gold. With Ernie and Kenny trying to talk serious basketball and Shaq and Charles doing anything but, it is pure gold. So those are two things I can't miss. But Gronk in the whole Monster Energy drink thing and talking about dirt biking and spinning every question back to dirt biking was classic Gronk. Love that guy. Love him, and he will be. Patriot fans, fear not. He will be your tight end this year. Well, 0% chance he won't be.
I think there's much more of a concern about Gronk. And again, I go back to what happened right after the Super Bowl.
I know you do, but I don't believe anything after a Super Bowl.
Well, but again, it was a discussion that happened before the Super Bowl.
I know. And what was he before? He was still nicked up, still hurting, and then he got stung again. So
he's gone through 3 back surgeries. Apparently, he hasn't spent a dime of his NFL money. Look, I hope the kid doesn't retire because he's so much fun.
Oh, he's great. Who doesn't want to watch a great player?
You remember when they were in London the other day and one year, and he scored a touchdown, and he did that ridiculous touchdown walk, and they said, "What were you doing?" "I was doing crazy nutcracker, dude," is what he said when he did his touchdown celebration.
He is just so much fun. So the dude has a great time, and he's one of the greats. And if he may go down as the greatest tight end ever. Longevity, we'll see, what that has to do with it. But listen, if he walks away,
we all lose if he walks away.
All we hear is yes, he has done great things with as wacky as he seems. I'm sure there are some people that think, oh, dude probably spent all his money.
No way.
We hear completely the opposite. And kudos to him and his team around him if that in fact is the case, and he saved all that money because he's just going to go have fun with life, and more power to him to do that. But and if he decides that, I'm behind him 100% because it's not my body on the line. It's his body on the line out there, that if he feels the need to walk away from it, then so be it. But from a selfish standpoint, I love seeing him play the game because he is so great to watch how teams try and match up against him, and he's just a great personality to have around.
Well, listen, he's obviously a lot of fun, but no matter what happens, this has been a bad week for him because he bought stake in Gronk the racehorse.
Yes, he did.
And the racehorse got a fever.
Yeah.
Spiked a fever, so they had to pull him from the Kentucky Derby.
Yep.
So Gronk's going to the Kentucky Derby. Let's be clear about that.
Gronk's not missing that. All those guys go.
But he's missing the opportunity to watch a horse he had bought a stake in run in the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah.
So that's the one downfall for Gronk this week. Gronk not happy. Gronk not running. Gronk still living life. Gronk living his best life all the time.
Gronk will be a Patriot this year.
All right, Gronk still undetermined, but
Gronk will be a Patriot.
Gronk very motorbikey right now, but Gronk sad, no horse. Coming up, NFL Draft Week, and we have audio from the most controversial player expected to be taken in the first round. Stay with us.